I'm quite excited about today's episode because I'm often guilty of just being face down, creating content at a desk on my own for days, weeks, months and years fly by. But after nearly 750 episodes and some amazing stories, there are some that stay with me for many years after the interview. And for me, that's why I record these daily shows, because every day is a school day and I try to learn something different from every single person that I meet, whether it be on the phone or in person. And way back when I first launched this podcast, one of my first guests was Alain from Front Door. I think I was on episode 31. And he had a story that really, really moved me. And now we have thousands of more listeners. I might ask him to tell that story again. But rather than reveal too much, buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to San Francisco so we can speak with Alain again from Front Door and get him onto the show. So a massive warm welcome back to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do for anyone that missed our first chat way back on episode 31?
Absolutely. So my name is Alain Capata-Chungu and I'm 34. And I'm actually a French citizen. I was born in a little country called Burundi, which is a small landlocked country in the African Great Lakes region in East Africa. Really small country bordered by Rwanda. Maybe some of you guys heard about it. To the north, and then the DRC, which is the Democratic Republic of Congo, to the west. So I have a background in business, and currently I'm focused on building my company called Front Door, which is a SaaS platform that we created for real estate professionals, mainly in the US and Canada, where we're actually helping those guys really make the most out of their time by completely and finally eliminating everything that deals with guesswork when they're receiving leads online.
Now, like I said a few moments ago, for people just tuning in, we last spoke on episode 31 back in March 2016, but with hand on my heart here, 700 episodes later, I've heard a lot of stories, some come and some go. Yours is one of those stories that has remained close to my heart for the last couple of years, because this show is not just about how technology is transforming multiple industries and indeed our lives, but about very real human stories and the drivers behind people's success. So after 700 episodes, I do have a much bigger audience scattered across 165 countries now. And I apologise for asking again, but would you mind sharing your story as a French entrepreneur whose journey has seen you travel from the war and genocide in Rwanda to building an artificial intelligence app in the valley to empowering city dwellers, for all those that missed that original conversation?
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. So I was born in Burundi, basically, and left the country when I think I was maybe just a year old, as my parents had an opportunity to relocate in Rwanda, which is a country right near to Burundi. So my childhood for a couple of years there was really, really great up until that night up in, I think it was 93 or 94, I don't remember exactly. But I was really, really young. It was just me, my mom, and my sister. And so that night, pretty much, our president, the president of Rwanda's plane has been, actually was attacked, pretty much. So that very night, literally everything that you can imagine that could be worse about us humans pretty much broke loose, right? So in a matter of hours, we've lost everything. We've lost our home. We actually had to flee our home. We left everything pretty much behind. So when I remember that we only took a bottle of milk, pretty much, my sister, my mom, and I, and we ran for almost three or 4 months. We spent an entire week with no food and just anything that you can imagine about maybe your worst nightmare, the worst horror movie you can think of. This is actually something we're living on an everyday basis. So, working, seeing people pretty much dying on every single corner that you will go on, having to jump above bodies, above babies. I don't want to be too graphic, but this is really was something that was really, really frightening, and that was really something that actually changed me pretty much and my family forever.